Okay, howdy y'all. I'm going to call to order the Compensation Committee meeting. Just checking, are we live? Great, great. And I guess we don't have a quorum.
We
So-
don't?
Well, I mean, we don't have to worry about it.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Right. Okay, and so, of course, I called the meeting to order and then forgot to have my paperwork in front of me. I apologize.
Dr. Holman, could you speak up? We can't hear you.
Okay, and I'll speak up too. Oh, and head out of saves today. Okay, so before we do anything else, are there any public comments?
No public comments.
No public comments. Does anybody want to comment? Nobody ever does. Okay. So moving on, we'll go to presentation and discussion of the Brownsville Public Utilities Group Health and Dental Partially Self-Insured Plans and Rates for Policy Year 2025.
Good afternoon, Chairman, board members. My name is Sergio Delgadillo. I'm the Compensation and Benefits Manager. Report to the HR Division under the direction of Dr. Emilia Guerra. So employee health benefits and dental benefits are critical components of a comprehensive compensation package that not only safeguards the well-being of our workforce, but also drives organizational success. By providing access to health care and dental services, we help our employees stay healthy, we minimize absences, and we improve overall productivity. These benefits are key in attracting and retaining top talent, which fosters loyalty and satisfaction. Say that investing in employees' health is an investment in the long-term sustainability and growth of our company. So to provide some background, the insurance plan follows year calendar beginning on January 1st and ending in December 31st. BPUB has a partially self-insured health plan. That means that our plan, up to a certain point, BPUB pays for all health claims directly, rather than paying a fixed premium to an insurance carrier, and added with a stop loss to protect against very large claims, in our case, 200,000. This approach gives BPUB more control over health care costs and the flexibility to design a plan that meets our needs. We are in our second year of a 3-year contract period. Year 2025 would be our third and final before going back to the market, which we'll plan to do beginning next year. Just recently, beginning August, we have partnered with a benefits consultant, Alliant Insurance Services, who will help us with this RFP process. The health and dental funds are made up of a BPUV and employee contributions, and of course, the disbursements, to cover claims and fixed cost. Over the past 3 years, you may see that our contributions have not aligned as expected. You can see that the fund has been reducing slightly year by year. For 2024, we anticipated in between a 14 to 15% increase based on the renewal numbers. However, we attributed this to an unusual year as we're emerging from COVID. We thought that employees were kind of going back and getting that medical care that they needed. So instead, we opted to request a 10% rate increase, recognizing that our health and dental funds could potentially support any decrease if the trend happened as it was forecast in the renewal documents. So that happened. However, we do see that keeping this same ratio of contributions and disbursements, it's not sustainable and would eventually deplete our fund. So on your left, you may see that the expected claims and fixed costs for plan year 2025 is around 11.2 million. And we have taken very positive steps this year, I would say big ones, that build win-win results for our employees. We've strengthened our wellness programs by partnering with preventive care services that in the long run will result in healthier employees and hopefully lower cost. So that's already in the works. In fact, we're having a wellness fair this next Friday, which is great news, and our partners will be here helping us with that process. So nevertheless, you can see on the right side that funding requirements are considerably higher by around 1.7 million. So you can see that it's going up from 9.5 to 11.2 million.
Quick question there on
Yes, sir.
on the bottom. It has a note on the previous slide, includes administrative fixed cost. Can you comment on that?
So the 11.2, that projection, most of it is claims. It's a cost associated directly with services. The other part is the administration of the plan, which is the 1.7 million. And that's been fixed practically since we went through RFP 3 years back.
Okay, that's annually,
Yes, sir.
and that's paid to who? To the
Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Blue Cross.
We're using their network. They're the
Yeah.
ones administrating our claims. We use everything through them.
Okay.
So in connection with our funding analysis, this slide is going to provide a detailed breakdown of the composition of the fund. On the left, of the fund source, to better say it. On the left, you can see the current year rates and how based on whatever selection coverage our employees are in, it's feeding to the fund. On the right, similar table shows the rate assessed by 20% and the expected contribution based on the participation that is there. So based on the participation that we're expecting and the contribution increase or assessed by a 20%, we foresee annual contributions of 10.8 million, very close to our expected liability. Bottom right corner of the table, you'll see policy year 2025 proposed funding sources. So the bulk of it, it's based on BPUV O&M budget, and then you have the employee and retirees contributions for 1.5, and then that, I'm calling it BPUV Health Fund decrease, it's 399, so that's partial decrease, because we do and are expecting reimbursed from the OPEB fund. That is our fund or trust that we built for retirement, and we have access to those reimbursement in around that amount. That's how come we foresaw that rather than doing a 23.8% increase that the table is showing to encompass the total contributions, we're doing a 20%, or proposing a 20%. So how do these changes translate to BPUV employees and BPUV? So on your left, you can see the rates under columns D and E. The contribution BPUV and employee each make their full rate. BPUV pays for 100% of the employee-only coverage and subsidize 60% of the dependent coverage. On the right, you can see the bottom line. That is, how much is it changing? So for an employee who has no dependents, of course, BPUV, it's, as I said, subsidizing 100% of the cost, so there's no change. However, BPUV is absorbing $148 additional to what we're currently paying for each employee. For an employee plus one, the change would be, and I'm talking about the monthly, that would be the middle box. The change would be $39 for every employee that has a plus one, and BPUV, including the 148, that'll be $210. And then employee plus two, that is $77 monthly for employee and any number of dependents they have in their insurance. For BPUV, that would be 65, sorry.
Just to clarify, this is the change.
Yes,
cost,
that is a
right.
change. So if you go to your left, you can see that our employees right now, on a monthly, they're paying for one, $195, and then come next year, they'll pay $234. So the change is $39. The amount is represented on the left table. Is that clarified? Thank you so much. So this slide is going to show the historical changes to our premiums and the contributions that each of the sites have. And as you can see, we are proposing a bigger increase that we've seen before, but we've also seen the biggest changes in the market since we've gone to RFP. Again, there's been a lot of changes and costs are increasing. We've seen that we made efforts to contain costs. We see our fund it's depleting, so that's where we're proposing this so we can match the requirements of claims and fixed cost. Next table is showing basically the same information. This is the historical for employee plus two or more. That's the family coverage, as you call it, where you're seeing that $77 increase. Sorry.
Could you go,
Last,
could
you
you
kinda-
go back one slide?
Yes, sir.
What is the percent on the right under increase for rate paid by employees?
That's an increase, in general, that's an increase that we've seen every of those years. So you can see this year we're proposing 20%. Last year we increased the 10% that I mentioned beginning of the presentation. 2023 we had 0 increases. And that's how come we believe that we were catching up on 2024. And then 2022 we had 4% increase. So that's just the history of how our insurance has behaved in terms of increasing the cost for BPUV and employees both.
Yeah, so the math there is what, 30, let's look at 2016. How is the 15% calculated?
So you will need to factor 2015 so that
Okay,
you could tell
why,
the 15%.
why don't you look at 2017? I guess, no, let's look at 2020.
But I think 2021 will likely be a
Okay, 2021.
good example. I need to get a calculator though.
Yeah,
Actually, that's easy, because it's 10%.
10%.
30, 75, and 300, 307.5. 10% of that is exactly 37.75.
Thank
So
you,
it's-
Mr. Holman, you just pulled me out of a bind.
yep.
There you go.
So
there you
from
go.
2020 is the dependent paid, and it was increased by that amount, so then the new total was there.
338.
I
Does
get
that
it.
make sense?
It's actually perfect. Huh?
Yes.
Right, so moving to this next slide.
Just out of curiosity,
Yes,
do
sir.
you have any information easily available about how healthcare costs have changed? Average healthcare costs. Are we tracking that? Are we above the average, below the average? And this is a hard question because, but if you knew how we were doing compared to, like, let's say, local healthcare costs changes per year, it might be interesting.
Gotcha. So, I mean, I don't have the numbers up my head. We have been seeing through the full year, and actually the last 2 years, we have been hearing this conversation of how health costs is increasing exponentially.
Oh, without a doubt. And it
Yeah.
might be useful, though, because this, to see that, because this might give us an idea of our employees' overall health compared to, the Brownsville area, and, or the region, or
I think
whatever.
that's information that we're gonna have to get.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect you to have it right now.
Right away, but we can definitely do that.
Okay.
I have another question also.
Yes, sir.
On, this contract started what, 2023? 2022?
2022.
2022. So
Sorry. 2023 was the first year.
2023.
We went out on 2022.
So, from 2022, who did we have who was the insurance company at that time?
We had them as well.
The same one?
Blue Cross
Ali-
Blue Shield.
Blue Cross Blue Shield, but
Yes,
the
sir.
insurance consultant was
Yes.
Alliant?
No, our consultant was Mr. Wethy, Ken Wethy. We just hired Alliant. We went through an RFP process this year, and we just signed up with them in August.
Okay, thank you.
Sure thing. So this slide, what it's showing, it's basically the repeat of the rates that we just shown. This would be the final rates for which we would like your support and recommendation to take them to board for approval. Perfect. So let me move to the next slide. Next is going to be our dental insurance funding analysis. So very similar to the numbers that we went through for health insurance, our dental fund has behaved completely opposite. We have a requirement that is pretty much met by our contributions to where our fund has actually increased. And we're forecasting that it's going to increase a little bit more next year. So you can see on the right side, keeping rates as they are, we would potentially see a $19,000 increase to our year. So because we are not seeing any need to increase rate and the change is minimum in terms of the bulk of the amount that is contributing to the fund, we're proposing a no change to rates on the dental side. Granted to say that not this year, but the year before, we actually did improvements to our dental plan where we removed some of the waiting periods that we had for dental care. So we have seen more use. It's helped our employees. However, our fund has remained pretty stable. You can see on this slide the same information, how the contributions were aimed last year. You can see this year that we're going to have a little bit of credit there of 19,000, which is what I talked on our previous slide, and the behavior continues. So a little bit more usage toward the liability or credit that's increasing. That's the amount that is helping our fund grow. This again would be the last slide showing kind of a aftermath of rates, which is the exact same rates that we have right now. And we would like your support and recommendation to take to the board for final approval. With this said, there will be the conclusion of the presentation.
Thank you. Any questions?
So on, right now, it's gonna be Alliant all the way to 2025, right? And then are we gonna get proposals for new consultants for that?
So, yes and no. We are in a one-year contract with Alliant that we can renew for 2 consecutive years. So ideally, yes, they did an awesome job for us in the RFP that you'll see next. But we are in a one-year contract only, just to clarify.
It's a one-year contract.
It's a one-year contract with options to renew for 2 consecutive years. And we partnered with them based on an RFP process where they did have the best proposal.
Okay. That's it.
Let me answer a little bit more. We tend to do, let's say, a one-year contract. In the event of that end of the 1 year or in the middle, if they don't do a good job for us, then we just don't renew the option period. There's a savings for us also for time and things of resources that if we just renew, then we don't have to do the RFP process that we're already been abiding by state procurement laws. So that's the intent and the logic between having a one-year contract with an option to renew. And you'll see various different, even on your upcoming board meeting, renewals on the last year of the 3-year contract or options that are based on a 2-year contract, et cetera. But that's the logic behind all of that.
I don't have any questions.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I think we're all set with that one. Now we go on to item number 2. The presentation and discussion of the Brownsville Public Utilities Group supplemental benefits. You know what's funny is I actually have it on my tablet now, and I'm still staring at it. Sorry. Supplemental benefits and voluntary benefits plan and rates for policy year 2025.
Thank you. So group health benefits and voluntary benefits enhance the overall compensation package for employees. These benefits provide additional financial security and peace of mind and contribute to employee satisfaction and help with retention. By offering a range of supplemental and voluntary benefits such as life insurance, disability insurance, critical illness coverage, both BPUV funded or provided, and voluntary products, we can address the diverse needs of our workforce. These benefits help bridge the gap in between basic insurance coverage and actual needs, ensuring that employees feel valued and supported. Furthermore, the availability of these benefits can attract top talent, improve job satisfaction, reduce employee turnover, and ultimately leading to more engaged and productive workforce. So same as our group health and dental policy years from January to December. We're currently in the final year of our contract, which included an option for a 3-year renewal. We last went to the market at the end of 2021, and there have been significant changes. After COVID, there's been different market dynamics, and there has been a shift in the use of these insurance products. As we approach the new plan year, it's critical that we consider these factors and ensure that we have a strategy that aligns with the current landscape needs and future opportunities. Policy year 2025 will be the first year of a new contract, which we're proposing we establish in the same way as the current, for 1 year with an option to renew for 2 consecutive years, again, to maximize the value on the RFP process. Our RFP closed in September 2024. Just last week, we finalized the best and final offers. And starting August this year, as I explained, we've engaged with Line Insurance Services. They are our consultants. They are here with us today, and they're going to help us kind of present the RFP results and provide a recommendation based on the analysis. So before going to the RFP details, I'd like to provide you with a brief overview of our current benefits. So we have benefits that protect income. That would be those that are paid by BPUV, basic term life that provides coverage of one-time employee salary, and long-term disability that provides coverage of 60% up to a max benefit of $6,000 for employees. Of course, all of our employees are participating in this benefit. Under voluntary, these are optionals employees may purchase. We do have good participation in these products. Around 50% of our employees have elected one of these services. So, and again, it works the same way. It's based on the amount that they'll like to insure themselves for, and then they can add dependents to that as well. Next would be the auxiliary benefits. Again, there's a benefit that BPUV provides. That would be our cafeteria plan administration. That's our flexible spending account. BPUV provides the administration of the plan, which comes at a cost to BPUV, and then the employee contributes to the flexible expending account. So they do their own contributions, which they can use to cover for medical expenses. We have good participation. Around 40% of our employees have opted to use FSA. And then we have our group vision, group cancer, group critical, additional insurances that we provide. Also good participation in between 45 and 40% for each one of those different insurances.
What is cafeteria?
I was looking at that. I realized that's a bad name for it.
Cafeteria plan administration, that's what the section 125 of the IRS code names it. So that's why they're called cafeteria plans. That's exactly what it's the name convention for it.
Yeah, I think just all of us start thinking about food up here, so.
Yeah, but it's not related to food. That's just the name that is provided. That's why we name it like that. So be that said, I'd like to invite our consultant, Bob Tracy. It's here present, and he'll take over.
Did that answer your question now? Okay, sorry about that.
Just click on the, okay, got it.
Howdy. I'm Bob Tracy with Alliance. Good to be here today. And cafeteria plans, that's a great name that came out way back in the day because it meant the employees, instead of getting one size fits all, could go through basically a line and pick out things. Back in the day, I'm dating myself, but you know, I've been in a family insurance business since 1983, and I built that with my father-in-law and my brother-in-law. In about 2012, we sold that family business to Gallagher Benefit Services, a large publicly owned company. And just recently, 2 years ago, we built this public sector team. It's all I do is government, cities, counties, school districts, water authorities, utility boards, housing authorities. It's a different kind of culture, to the good. You guys care about your benefits. And, but back in the day, we had these defined contribution plans where the employers would give their employees $6,000 a year, and they would basically go through a line of products and choose what they want. So that's kind of where that word came from, the manifestation of it, of cafeteria plans. It's kind of fallen off now, but you know, the main thing about this benefits deal is we have such a different workforce today. I built a slide. You know, we've got Generation Zs, we've got the millennials, we got the X and the Ys, we got the baby boomers, and we even have extenders now, people who just can't go out and get a life. They want to keep working into their 70s and whatnot. And back in the day with HR, it was really a one-size-fits-all, one medical plan. You had a little life insurance, a little disability, whatever. But now, you know, employees want 3 or 4 medical plans and 2 or 3 dental plans, and then they want a whole hodgepodge of cafeteria-style voluntary benefits that meets them where they are. And so my role in working with your awesome HR folks that I've just enjoyed getting to know, Amelia and working with Christy and Sergio, is that what I hope to bring to the table quickly is the opportunity to go out and use our leverage in the marketplace to go out and get a number of different things and give our employees choices, because the new generation for sure, and I'm not talking to some old guy, I'm still mixing it up with the young fellas and whatnot, but at the end of the day, they do want choices. And it's going to be imperative to you keeping your workforce competitive to compete. And that was a good question. How are we doing? You know, I mean, the numbers seem a bit overwhelming sometimes when we talk about millions, but the key is also not only your own budget, but how are we doing recruiting? How are we doing competing? Is this a good number? A 10% number off of a high base is not good. We got to get the base moving in the direction that this company wants to do for budgets and whatnot. So that'll be my role, is to just work in partnership and collaboration and to go get stuff. That's what I do well. And to that end, that's what we just got done doing. And so I'm going to kind of walk you through some of the highlights as we talk a little. The background objectives are pretty simple. It's go get it. We build an RFP document. It's a pathway for letting the carriers know what we want to do. And you got to tell them, because left to their own, they're lazy. They'll cherry pick cases. They may say, an underwriter today, look, I'm working on these 6, and this one over here, I'll get to it. So my role is to go out there and build a real fertile ground for when they see the BPUB, that we're going to get it. We're going to go get a lot of carriers and a lot of choices, and we're going to be very active in the RFP process. And Diane Solter did a great job of putting together what we sent out to the markets. We want this, and these are the rules you got to play by. We want pricing, we want quality, we want responsibility with our vendors. But my job is to be working with her to be a citadel for her process. That's number one. People will respect the process. But secondly, I've got to get out there and bang the drum and let these carriers know that we want your proposals and we want your best. One of the things that my team brings to the table, led by my director, Nick Long, these are the group of folks, team that we took from Gallagher 2 years ago and moved them to Alliant, and there were a lot of reasons for it, but trust me here, we left to keep doing our job and keep doing it better. And again, all we do is government sector. So the markets know who we are. They know who Nick Long is. They know who Bob Tracy is. They know how Maggie Parker and Tim Brown. And our job is to push it out there and get it in. And this process has been extremely successful that we just enjoyed. And today we're going to kind of talk a little about the selections as we move forward. So part of, you got the big medical plan, you got the big dental plan. Now we get into what we call ancillary lines. They're not the big core benefits. These are the ones that, for the most part, the employees are going to spend their own paycheck on. But the first one up there, life and disability, is, as Sergio said, this is all about protecting your life for your family and protecting your money, your salary. That's what these two benefits do, and they are next to the medical plan. I would say life and disability are the two most important benefits before even dental, before vision, because these are the folks that have been building towards homes and college careers for their kids, and whatever it is, life stops. So it's important for the company to step up, and you do in a big way at a one-time annual salary up to a couple $100,000. You guys step up. And so with that said, we went out for proposals to protect the family left behind. We went out for the disability, which protects the paycheck. It's all about both short-term and long-term. So when we get into this work site, when we get into the disability, there's two pieces to it. One of them is sick leave on a short-term basis, and the other one is, hey, I'm down and I'm probably going to have to leave the company, but I need to make some money. And so with that said, that's the long-term piece. So short-term is important for the most part to your younger workforce because those are the folks who haven't quite had the time to build savings accounts. These are the ones who are having children maybe in a tough way and have to stay home. These are mostly the folks who are just starting out with the company who haven't built up the sick leave days. So we got to protect them. It's very inexpensive, but a very important piece to the younger workforce. As you age and begin to acquire assets, and you go down with a long-term disability, and what I'm talking about a long-term, probably more than 6 months. It's anything before 6, you're probably hanging in your short term, but anything after 6 months, you're having to make some pretty difficult decisions. Am I coming back? Am I going to run through my savings, and how long is it going to last? And with that said, that's your long-term disability, and that will take you basically all the way to your Social Security next retirement age. For somebody like me, an aged dude, mine is 67 before Social Security will kick in. You have a population that will probably go that far. Your younger people are going to end up going to 70, 72, 75 for Social Security. So at the end of the day, we need to protect the paychecks in the long run too. Vision is it's probably the fluffiest benefit we deal with, but it's important, you know, especially if you have children and they're in eyewear and contacts and all the, it's not meant to be a glamorous thing. We're not going to end up buying LeBron James gold-plated. It's basically, if you need a pair of glasses and you need functional, then great. And there'll be some amount of design if you need that. But it's meant to just basically, I need a pair of glasses or I need some contacts. We're not paying for anything too much more than that. But again, that's an important benefit. And then your work site is pretty important too, because we're dealing with, look, I haven't had much time to get my hands around it, but you have a great medical plan. So one of the answers to your question, how are we doing? You're doing great, because when you rate your plan out under the Affordable Care Act, you all have a gold standard health plan, and we can measure that in the market. So when employees are sitting around going, I don't think I have a good health plan, whatever, and if they know they have a gold standard benefit plan, deductibles, co-insurance, out-of-pockets, and all the things that come with it, and you do, that means something. You know, I have a gold standard health plan over at the BPUB. So that's important to deal with. But inside of that, there's a lot of expenses that you will have that aren't health related. I mean, it's great that you have an incredible medical center here, but for those folks who may have to travel to MD Anderson or somebody into Houston or whatever it is, or have to travel, period, to get to wherever they want to get to, take time off from work. And there's so many things that go on the treatment of these long-term diseases that aren't health related. They're just expense related. So what we're going to be dealing with now is really loading up on that area with critical illness policies, where if you get diagnosed with a serious disease, then it's going to pay you cash. And we're not going to have one of these Aflac things where, although Aflac's a great company and we all love Nick Saban, but at the end of the day, they're difficult to understand. They pay this for blood, this for plasma, this for parking, this for lodging, and you never know if I'm going to get money or not. We're simplifying that. It's going to act almost like life insurance now. We're going to give our employees a choice between $10,000, $20,000, and $30,000 of coverage. Decide what you want. This is voluntary benefits. And when you get diagnosed, there's almost 30 dreaded diseases, including cancer. The minute you're diagnosed, you send that diagnosis in like life insurance, and they send you a check for $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. You put it in the bank, and you decide what you want to do with it. If you want to go to Hawaii, that's the way it goes, if that's the way you want to spend your dreaded disease. But we're going to simplify this benefit, but we're going to strengthen it and really make it a productive benefit from that standpoint. So that's a big deal in that. And the other two we're going to add to the portfolio is basic accident. You got kids, broken bones, everything going on. You go into an accident room today, it's going to cost you $1,700 to $2,000. So now when you go in, boom, cash, there you go, in your pocket, taken care of, fractures, burns, whatever else it is from there. And then the third one is hospital, because again, even though we have this great medical plan, you can churn up to, you know, a couple $1,000 out of pocket, $3,000, $4,000. So if you go into a hospital, you get paid cash each day you're in the hospital to help supplement your deductibles and your co-insurance. So in a big macro, that slide's important because it tells you where we're heading, and where we're heading is meeting your workforce where they are today. Young, X, Ys, Zs, millennials, all the way on up to extenders, giving choices to people to use their paycheck to make these kind of choices. So it's going to be really robust, and I'm excited about it. We'll be enrolling sometime in November. We're going to have incredible enrollment rollouts, benefit guides, promotions, call centers, reps on the area, really let the employees know. And the key to this is this: if we build, not if, when we build this enrollment process correctly, this time come up in November, every time we do a big rollout, and we're going to do this every year, but this will be our first year with Clarabin, who's a big enrollment company, we have had the feedback that says, you know, I didn't know I had good benefits like this. it's going to be a real value to your company here that when the employees get done, they may not like everything and they might not buy much of anything, but they will understand their benefit and they will understand that this workforce really has a lot of options and it's very robust and this is the place to work. As long as I'm working here, I want to get to that point where people say, man, the BPUB has great benefits and we need that because compensation's a whole different game. Is it my time? Do I have to catch a flight?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry. All right.
Well, thank
We're
you for
going.
that.
You want me to keep rolling? Okay, so here's where we're going. Cobra Life and Products, so here we go. So when we got done with the initial process, we had a ton of companies. And at the end of the day, we whittled it down to 3, the trifecta. And we did this because Ms. Saltaire had set up the RFP to say, we're going to pick companies based on quality, price, and responsibility. When we put those 3 analytically together for the life and disability benefits, we found Dearborn for the basic. This is what you pay for, the MetLife and the standard, and then the disability. Now, the important thing here is to try to bundle these up as much as possible. So at the end of the day, when you look at the annual costs as we move through it, we see here that MetLife is right there with standard, but what we found when we really look at it is, here's the voluntary. You want to keep the voluntary with the main carriers, and even though when you look at this, MetLife was a little more expensive on this on the employer paid, they really made up on what the employees are going to pay, and that's really important. So when we got all said and done, MetLife met all the criteria of quality, pricing, respectability, doing their job, and at the end of the day, we went ahead and we're going to be recommending to you that we go with MetLife across the board for the voluntary life, the voluntary short-term disability, the basic life, and the long-term disability as a package. This will be easy for the employees to understand. Again, very competitive, and at the same time, too, on the voluntary side, extremely competitive. That's what comes out of their paychecks. So it's going to be MetLife across the board. It'll be easy for administration, better for the employees to know the whole thing's with MetLife. On the voluntary side, voluntary life, voluntary short-term. Again, these are benefits that, for the most part, you're going to go into these benefits as an employee on the voluntary side, and if you get into long-term benefits, then you're going to roll in, the claim will already be built, so it's good to have also these benefits paid with the same company, because these are the ones you start out with, and then you get into the long-term, the more serious benefits with the same carrier. The claims are already built, the systems already know who you are, and it's easier to file claims and make the whole process work. So we're going to make this real simple where this particular part of the RFP, the life, the disability, is all going to go with MetLife, both on the base, what you all pay for, and then what the employees are going to pay for additional life and short-term disability. So this is a great way to go ahead and bundle all it together, and MetLife made it really worth our while to keep it all together.
Sounds good. So now, can I ask you to wrap the rest up in 5 minutes?
Yes,
We're
sir.
over
I'm rolling
time
now.
So if we could.
Vision. This one is something we talked about too. We had some great carriers in here. The main thing to do here is to make sure that the networks are good. And so at the end of the day, what we liked about this too is MetLife said we'd like to have the vision also. And they really, again, they spread this risk out over the basic life, the long-term disability, the voluntary short-term, the voluntary life, and they said, hey, our underwriters like the whole thing, and they came in and really did a great job on the vision. The really nice thing about this is that the network is the same, VSP, so local optometrists will love this. They already know who VSP is. We're trying to make it seamless. So MetLife came in at the end of the day and grabbed the whole thing and did a great job, price, quality, and they really did a great job on respecting the process. Okay, worksite, these are the coverages that we talked about that employees want to see and have a lot of different choices. What we saw right off the bat is, again, bundling is important. In other words, writing as many of these coverages as we can with one carrier. Here's the good news. Aetna crushed it. Aetna came in and said, I want the whole thing. So now we're going to offer critical illness plans with Aetna. There's the accident plan with Aetna. There's the hospital indemnity low plan with Aetna. And at the end of the day, the RFP worked. They were the lowest. We're going to offer broad-based products this year for the employees. and it's really going to turn out to be something that they'll be well respected. And really, at the end of the day, we did a quick little run. This is analytics to tell you what they're currently doing with Blue Cross Blue Shield for Dearborn, MetLife, a couple of the other companies, what we're going to using a 48-year-old salary, $48,000. So there's some ups, there's some downs, but overall with the year that we've had, the loss ratios, I'm really pleased that we came out with great high-quality products that compete with the markets out here at good prices, and we're going to get 3-year rate guarantees for most of this stuff. So we won't be coming back again every year saying I need another whatever for these benefits. So all good. We're going to be administering COBRA. When people leave here, they get medical, vision, and dental. We've got a new company coming in by the name of WEX. They're going to come in and take care of all the administration on that. And then they're going to be administering our cafeteria-style flexible spending accounts for people to put extra savings away, pre-tax to pay for medical out of spend, all this whole, so it's going to be nice and integrated from there, and that's it. So we made it through number 2, and then we'll be back for the decisions. So the recommendations have been made. Any questions, that'll do it.
No questions. Thank you for the detailed information, and I'm excited also for the employees to learn about the services that they're going to have access to.
Yes.
Ultimately, that is going to be a benefit to them, right? And I can tell from your passion and details, right, that is something that we can get for our employees. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I would like to emphasize, don't let us rushing you at this meeting, reflect at all on how much we do appreciate the effort you've put into this. And, yes, I hope our employees do get to understand the benefits they have. This is the big benefit of working for a nonprofit, not-for-profit, and so thank you all for everything you do, and please take advantage.
Thank you. So as you can see, we had a successful RFP process. We have a recommendation from a consultant. We are in agreement with the recommendation. We're thinking that we are not only getting competitive benefits, but we're getting more benefits available to our employees. It's voluntary benefits, so it's at their cost. But again, it gives them option. It gives them more flexibility. You can choose what better fits your need. So we are also requesting that you support this process and do our recommendation to follow the recommendation of the consultant. That should end this
Yep.
presentation.
Sounds good, thank you. And now to the last item, which I'll actually read from my tablet. Oh, I say that and then it goes to sleep. Presentation and discussion of Brownsville Public Utility Board Human Resources Metrics. And you're up again.
I'm up again, and I promise a 29-minute presentation. I'll keep it fast. Well, today we are presenting and delving into the critical role of HR metrics and how they play in the role they play in our organization. We strive to enhance our workforce management and drive strategic decision-making. Understanding and leveraging HR metrics, it's indispensable. These metrics provide us with valuable insights into various aspects of our HR, from engagement to recruitment, efficiency, and retention rates. Analyzing these data points can definitely help us identify trends, address changes, and implement effective strategies to align with our organizational goals. In the previous months, we've introduced workforce highlights to this committee and to the board. We provided information on 7 different areas. For this report, we're playing a higher focus on separation and recruitment. So we track over 50 different metrics in the HR department. In the interest of time, I'm only going to be providing you a general update touching on each one of these 7 metrics. And by those, I mean turnover, separations, recruitment, retirement, staffing and internal advancement, tenure, and headcount. As of September 27th, we have 643 full-time employee positions, 587 are active, 56 vacancies, and 5 term limited position. Be that said, these are numbers from last month. We have now 10 more positions, and our numbers have changed starting October 1st. We did meet the requirement of the board. We did implement October 1st our inflationary adjustment that was supported by this board. So we're happy to say that it's already in the process, and employees are going to see it this Friday on their paycheck.
How was that received?
I think we've heard very happy comments.
Good.
Well, I mean, I think we'll find out Friday, right? I mean, that's when they get their first
Yeah,
check.
we have announced that the board had supported this issue and that they're going to be seeing it already. We have announced that we did something a little bit different this year, whereas before we would wait for a full pay period with fiscal years, since we have a split pay period, since we're starting a new fiscal year, we actually went ahead, we cross our Ts, dot our Is, and we make sure that we've implemented October 1st as we told this board we would do. So that happened.
Great.
Our annual payroll net of benefit is 36.5 million. Our average pay per hour is 29.89, and our lowest hourly is 14.34. And of course, with the support of this committee today, that number has increased. We're now at 14.92, which is a great number, not represented. This presentation was done a little bit before. And our hourly rate is very competitive. BLS has an average for the South region of 28.98. So we're pretty much in line with BLS information for government under South region. Together, we total 5,942 years of combined direct BPUV experience, averaging 10.1 years per employee. You can see on the employee tenure block chart on the upper left, the top dark blue squares, that 40% of our workforce is beyond 10 years of tenure or experience in BPUV, and another 19%, it's around 5 to 10 years. Our below 5 years is 40%. However, according again to some information provided by ELS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median tenure an employee has in their job as of January 2024 was 3.9 years. So our numbers really show that we're doing good, and we can always improve. This means we're going in the right direction. So 20% of our workforce, or 117 employees, are eligible for retirement. And when we dig deeper into these numbers, around 20%, from that 20%, 40% employees, that is 46 employees, are eligible for health benefits. So part of our benefits to provide retirees within certain conditions, the extension of their health benefit. So of course, this again is a stat that helps us because we understand the need of continuing our succession planning, strengthening it, because it's coming. We can see the numbers. On year-to-date turnover rate is 10% versus our last 3-year turnover rate average at 13%. So we are reducing. Turnover rate for fiscal year 2029 is composed of 7.5 voluntary and 2.5 voluntary. Our numbers are better. However, if you look at the bottom right corner, you can see that the 2.5 block is slightly bigger than the average at 1.9. That definitely shows that although we are improving in our numbers, we did see more non-voluntary separations. So of course, it attests to BPUV desires for accountability and responsibility and serving our customers as they should. So moving to our next. Uh-oh. Can you help me out, Carlos?
Think that means we're done?
Okay.
It almost seemed like that. It worked, thanks. So this too just died on us. So the biggest divisions is the water wastewater operation division, accounting for 26% of the total workforce, followed by electrical operations, where I'm 16%. Based on the total number of FTEs in the divisions and the vacancies for each division or area, the biggest concerns will be the admin section at 77% staffing rate, and then the power supply at 79.3% staffing rate. So of course, again, what we do is this task help us kind of look into what direction we need to be aiming to make sure that our numbers improve. The rest of our divisions are operating at 90% staffing or higher rate. Sorry, I missed one. Water, wastewater engineering, and capital planning, it's at 85.4%. The rest are beyond 90%. Our separations are lower this year. The total is 59 to date, already in the 12 months of the fiscal year. Lower by 1 versus our last 5 years, so, but they're lower. Under career advancement, you can see that this year we have filled 56 vacancies with internal candidates, and we've promoted 61 employees to the next level in their job or a position in the job families. That means they obtained a required certification or they met the qualifications. So combined, we're surpassing the average that we're comparing against, so that's a good metric. And in general, it shows that we do have a good balance in between health, competitive advancement, and growth through development. Moving on, in general, our 5-year average vacancy fill rate is 52% internal and 48 external, meaning that the separations are filled by both internal and external candidates almost in equal parts. And we have a 1 to 8.3 full-time positions management to staff ratio.
When you say management, is that like a certain level?
Yes, so positions that have supervisory of 2 or more positions, basically starting at the supervisor level, some encompassing foreman, management, et cetera.
Okay.
Do we know what the industry average is for, electrical or for wastewater, water?
I wouldn't want to pull out a number that I'm not sure. I think government says 11 to 1, if I'm not mistaken, but I
Okay,
can check.
so we might have a lot of managers.
Thing is that management, we could probably work on that. Management, as we're considering, we're encompassing other levels that are not typically considered management, but we'd like to say it because that helps understand the structure that we have down. Managers, we're 64 out of 600, so it's around 10%.
It might be nice just to get a little more color on that, so we can, for next time, sharpen our pencil, if it's, we have 9 people per manager, and, I know, from my experience, it would be closer to 15 to 20 people, and so, but I don't work in this industry. So, just getting that clarification would be interesting.
Gladly, sir. Yes, so I know that when you look into field work, you typically look at 1 to 6 versus 1 to 20. But again, I'll get you the data and we'll have it ready for our next meeting for sure. Thank you. Gosh, I almost feel like I moved. There we go. Well, this section focuses on separations and recruitment. On the left, represented by the pie chart, you can see how in the last 5-year separation, we filled 93% of the positions. We follow that 5-year trend, and we'd like to see where we're at. Lower to that, I included a table that shows that of all the separations we had for the first 3 fiscal years we're benchmarking, they're all been filled. For 2023, we have 3 vacancies that have not been filled. And then for 2024, out of 59, 22 remain vacant. That is, just to clarify, that is employees that separated and they left the vacancy, and that vacancy was filled. Some of those, as I mentioned before, are filled internally and some externally. So when they're filled internally, they'll leave another vacancy behind. And of course, the overall number is still going to look as 52 or 54, depending on how many vacancies we have and the recurring of those. On the screen, you can see by fiscal year the number of separations and the number of recruitment efforts, showing for fiscal year 2022, 2023, and 2024 that we have onboarded more employees than the employees we've lost. So again, those red columns represent employees that separate our company, and then those blue columns, those employees that are hired external, grade hired internal, and then you can see the higher rate, which would be your separation versus your total hires or your total external hires. Got it. This slide is a little more granular. It looks into this year's status. So I'll start by showing the graph on the bottom right. So you can see that fiscal year 2024 year to date, we have 59 separations, 44 voluntary, 15 involuntary. We've hired 61 new employees and moved another 56 employees into new roles through our recruitment process. So we advertise, they submit an application, we review, they interview, they were selected, they were made an offer, and then they moved into the role. So in total, we filled 117 positions thus far. You can see on the left, represented by the red line, the total number of separations. And the columns are the internal and external hires. So of course, when we looked at both columns put together one on top of the other, all of those columns are higher than the red line. So we done more higher than the separations that we've had. As Friday 27, we lost 5 employees. However, today we welcome 5 new hires, so our numbers continue to average. So last I was showing what we call employee engagement graphs. So these are 2 stats that we just introduced to our dashboard. So this focuses on 2 key metrics: the vacancy rate over a period of 24 months, and it's a monthly vacancy rate that we're taking into account. That is month to month versus the number total of positions that we have, how many vacancies we have. So today would be basically 56 divided by 653 positions that we have. So you can see how we had some drops in that 24 view. Right now we're at 8.7. Our goal, of course, is that green line that you see, which would represent efforts of around 125% from what we're seeing today. So we can drop to having around 45 vacancies. Of course, we want 0. That's our goal. But because we do have that internal process where we hire, that tends to take a little bit longer. The BLS numbers is around 6.4, if I'm not mistaken. We set our goal this year for 6.95. So a little bit higher, but way lower than what you're seeing in that screen. On the right, you're going to see your retention, employee retention. This is a rolling 12-month value. And again, it's, I guess, hand in hand to what we see on the vacancy rate. What we do is that we see how many employees we had at the beginning of the period, 12 months before, how many employees left, divided by how many employees we have. So that we have currently at the end of the period. So that gives you that retention rate. Looking into our last 4 years, our highest peak and our lowest peak is going to be averaging 90.8. So that's what we're aiming to get this year. And again, these are benchmarks, metrics that we're tracking to make sure we're making decisions and moving in the right direction. With that, I'll conclude the presentation.
Sounds good. Any questions?
Not for me.
No, just a pretty good presentation. I know there's a lot of data here, but probably up here we all really like data and like visualization, so I think it was very insightful. I'd like to see other information, just like, I don't know if that's possible, like age distribution, things like
We
that.
track age
Yeah, so
distribution as well.
looking forward to the next item of potential future topics. Maybe we can get that, also connecting it to the insurance. We were looking at how many people were just doing employee plus 1, employee plus 2, right? So that's kind of also an indicator of, are they married, signal, or, whatever, why are those decisions being happened? I think it'll help us ensure that the benefits and services that we provide are aligned to the population, right? So,
Definitely. Well, we're lucky that we track both of those.
Yeah.
So we'll bring them up.
that was it for me.
So
you
he
very much.
wants to ensure that we insure people correctly. Sorry, okay. Yeah, okay, so kind of, jumped ahead, but discussion and/or requests for future agenda items?
Not for me.
No? Anything else, or, okay.
I do want to ask a clarification on the HR update. We just met for agenda review with the chair and the vice chair, and I know this is a lot more detailed since you all, specifically for compensation committee. Is there anything in here, or graphs or sections, that you would like for us to include for the full board to discuss at this time, or provide as an update so they're aware of? Or I can just send a general email for everybody with the information.
I think a general email and then maybe a 1 or 2 slide, discussion. I think, and Mark, you mentioned this earlier, but I think the one thing, some people might want to see is if we can, the amount of time these vacancies have stayed open. Like, where are the long-standing vacancies? not the ones that are churning. I mean, we understand, I mean, that actually, you guys helped us understand, and thank you for that. But just knowing that, hey, look, this is the vacancy that we can't fill, or these are the top 10, and, you know, yeah.
Gladly, sir, and although my presentation is ended, we do track that. We have gotten direction, and we've added more stats that provide that kind of visibility. So we are tracking vacancy dates per vacancy. So
Yeah.
that's kind of
Sounds
Tending to
good.
what
But
you
I
just
think,
said.
you know, a couple slides for the board, just so that we can all be aware of where we are with that would help. And then the presentation could be sent to everybody. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and so with that, I think we'll call everybody else up to redo the presentation
Yeah.
again. Thank you all very much. Oh, wait, no, we got to vote on it. No, no, that's it? We just call it quits? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's right, it is just a committee. Okay, we're going to call it quits. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.